You're always do you want to introduce yourself first of all?
I'm very young. I'm a presenter, DJ. I run my own fashion business actually. And yeah, I saw the video and I responded. I think many people could respond to it in a very negative way, feel that the narrator is attacking the industry of fashion. I think that's a very kind of one-sided response. I think that he has many points in terms of the idea, the concept of fashion is not static. It doesn't mean one thing. You can't define fashion in one sentence, maybe one essay or one monologue. You cannot define fashion because it's a changing subject, and it affects everyone, whether you're completely anti-fashion or completely a fashion victim. It inevitably affects your everyday life, because at the end of the day it's illegal to walk around naked, and we live in a country where they don't have very good weather, so you've got to wear clothes. So I just kind of was talking earlier about how if one person was so anti-fashion that they wanted to wear a bin bag, and they wore a bin bag because they didn't want to buy any brand, they didn't want to buy into any sort of brand or commercial industry. And then someone else saw that bin bag, thought, hey, that's wicked, I like that idea, I'm going to wear it. Another person sees that someone rocking a bin bag and then wears the bin bag. What you have there is you have a trend, like something that people are wearing. It could be anti-fashion, but it is, and it becomes a fashion trend. So there you go back to the fact that, okay, that person was wearing that bin bag as a statement, but then different statements can be interpreted in completely a multitude of ways. So, I mean, it's just interesting, and then you have that kind of, you take that theory and take it to extreme, like the very big brands like Gucci and Louis Vuitton. You've got Kanye West repping Louis Vuitton, and in his lyrics, whether you're Louis Vuitton or Reeboking, it's like all those lyrics and plugging the brand, we get paid to plug the brand, and then other people think that's sick, Kanye West is sick, I want to emulate his style, I want to emulate his lifestyle, I want to be like him, so I'm going to wear Louis Vuitton. So they go in the street having Louis Vuitton, and someone else thinks, oh, they look good, maybe if I wear that my life will be better and it will make good things happen. And that's where fashion is. It's not a positive thing, because it makes you reflect on your own life and maybe think, oh, I'm not so good because I don't have that bag, I don't have that Louis Vuitton bag. But at the end of the day, it's £1,000, I can't afford that, so you go get a fake.
Yeah.
And then you get the bitches that judge you and say, oh, you have a fake.
Right.
So it encourages big brands like that, encourage judgment and encourage a lack of quality to your own life. It makes you feel sort of inadequate and always seeking more and never being satisfied with what you have. And that's not a good thing. And I'm not slating Louis Vuitton, and I'm not slating the big brands. I'm not stating the concept of the big brand, because I think the concept is really interesting in the creation of the brand. You have interesting, very creative artists behind those brands, and you have very interesting people behind the brands. It's the actual commercialization of the brands and the people who buy the brands that make the whole chain of judgment, fashion judgment. And that's where fashion's not a positive thing at all.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And what about the sort of I suppose it sort of debases society as well, when people have to copy other people, they think they've got to dress in a certain way. I mean, I suppose because we live in London, you're based here as well, it's probably like the peak of it all probably, I suppose, you might go to another city like New York or another place like that and it might be similar, but I think it happens in a city a lot more than it probably does in other areas.
Of course, because you have a concentration of different people, cosmopolitan people, more difficult to life, and then you have the trends within the kind of group of people in fashion, and that encourages fashion to thrive, like punk, emo, rappers, urban style. Then you've got the bimbo style, you have the mini skirt, high extensions, fake boobs, fake nails, fake hair, fake tan. And loads of fashion tribes, and each tribe sticks to one another, judges the other, comments on the other, and gets kicks out of basically dissing each other. And that's a fashion tribe, and of course it's logical you're going to get that in a place where
So I mean that's like you know, I mean Dan talks about this whole idea of glamour as well, and how that affects you know, society and life in a way as well.
I mean, you've got the glossy magazines nowadays. Just you walk anywhere, you cannot get away from advertising, from images of women, perfect women with a perfect body, and perfect men with 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack, perfect airbrushed skin and beautiful, tall, slim, sized, all body. Of course, this is unachievable in everyday existence because unfortunately we don't have an airbrush for everyday, but the models do in the Photoshop. The stuff people do in Photoshop, I'm also a photographer. I know what you can do with Photoshop. I know what you can do with airbrushing. It is crazy and it's becoming